Hi guys, today I wanted to teach you guys what the very first thing I learned when I got my first computer back in 1989. It was a 386DX 25 megahertz. That's what it was called. It was a generic PC. We used to call it IBM compatible. Basically, PCs that are just compatible with IBM. IBM first started making PCs, and then a bunch of the good thing was everybody could, make their own computer. So I just bought this off, my dad bought it for me off a computer store. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is for those of you who are following my root tutorials, Android tutorials. We're always doing CD download, CD fast boot. And I wanted to really explain it because I was trying to help Greg and he could not figure out how to CD into a directory. So let me go and explain that. Let's go into a command prompt. So a Windows PC comes from all of that. It's called the MS-DOS. So every Windows PC still has MS-DOS in it. So here's your C drive, D drive, E drive, blah blah blah. All right. So how Windows works? You got C drive, and then you got your user directory. All right. If you wanted to find your user directory, you go to C users max. All right. And then if you want to go to downloads and then go to fast boot, you can browse like that. That's the concept here. Now, ever since like Windows XP or something, Windows started defaulting your command prompt to your user directory. So when you go to start and type CMD, it's going to go to basically users max. All this means is that you're in the C drive, users folder, and max folder. All right. So this is MS-DOS basically. This is the original, basically the command prompt. Back in the day when I first got my computer, we didn't even have, everything was like this. You boot your computer and you're actually in the root directory like that. If you wanted to go to the root directory, which is basically the root of everything, which is same thing as going back here, your C drive. Let me actually make this thing smaller. That's your C drive, all right? And we're in the root directory. So let's say I want to go to users. So I type CD users. All right. Now, MS-DOS does not care if you use capital or lowercase, unlike Linux or Unix, where, it does matter. So you don't have to worry about capitalizing anything. So if I do CD users, that means enter the user directory. All right. CD, and then useful things is like mkdir, C and CD dot. Okay, CD dot like that means go back to the previous directory. So let's say I want to CD users and then CD max. Then I want to go to the previous directory, CD dot. So it's sort of a way of you can browse your basically file system. And this is the original computer system that I grew up with, and that's all we did. That's why for me it's very natural, because we didn't have this mouse and clicking all this stuff. Back in the day, we did everything with commands. If you wanted to run a program, you go to that directory and run that exe file. So if you don't understand that, you understand that now. Now back then, we didn't have a tab key to fill it out for you. So if you do CD / like that, you go back to the root directory. Now, one of the easiest way you can do it is go and type CD, hit enter, and then type the first 2 or 3 letters of where you want to go. And you're going to hit the tab key, the one on the third from the left, or there's a tab. Some computers have it on the right too. Hit the tab key, and you can see it fills it out for you. Hit enter, CD MA, hit tab, fills it out for you. Hit CD DOWN, hit the tab key, because this way, if you misspell it, you might get error. Let's say you put download 7. Instead of doing that, if you just type, the reason why I use a tab key is because it fills it out for you. Now, if there's more than one, then it will fill out desktop, and if you keep hitting the tab key, it will go through. Now, this is actually same. This is one of the things you have to learn if you want to program, if you want to become a programmer. This is the first thing you have to learn. It doesn't matter. This actually works exactly the same with Linux systems, right? Which I'll show you. If you guys are interested, I'll show you the basics of running this kind of stuff on a Linux system. Also, Macs use Unix, so Linux and Mac terminal is exactly the same. So if you get good at this, you can learn to use shell. This is called a shell or the command prompt. Sometimes people call it terminal. Basically, you're browsing through the old computer system, and this is a lot of times this is very useful when it comes to doing things. That's why I try to make it very simple, and you guys download it, basically unzip the folder, and then you can just CD to CD downloads, CD fastboot. All right, now this is very useful. So what I want you guys to do, if you guys want to learn about programming, learn MS-DOS. If you don't know these commands, you can literally Google this everywhere. Just go MS-DOS commands. MS-DOS commands. This is the heart. This is how computers started back in the days. This is the only thing we use. Even on Wikipedia, check out some of these things that actually show you. You can change the attributes of a file. All right. Windows still uses this, but you don't see it because now you can do it graphically. But if you really want to be a good programmer, if you want to get really good at computers, you really got to master these commands, check disk and all this stuff. So let's do check disk, chk disk. Oops, is it dsk? Sometimes I forget too. Okay, it says access deny. You don't have sufficient privileges. Now, it's like I don't have root privileges, so if that happens, you can go to start, type cmd, and sorry, my stupid microphone. cmd, do a right click and run as an administrator. All right, now you're gonna be able to do these commands, and it's gonna show what kind of file system I have. This is actually gonna check your whole file system. So you can always hit Control C, hit Control and C together. That will abort any kind of thing you're doing. Another thing really important is dir. So dir, it lists all the files in your in that directory. So you get the actual file name, the size, the time it was created or copied over, and you can see the directories under dir. So if I want to go into that bitgapps, and I don't want to type it out, just type cd space bit, and then hit the tab key, and boom, boom shakalaka. How easy it is. Once you understand the command console, the MS-DOS terminal, it's gonna make your life so much easier when following my tutorials, or even just being able to, know about how the inner workings of computer. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Now in Linux, it's not dir. I think dir actually works, but you can do ls. Now ls doesn't work. So there's slight differences between like Linux, MS-DOS, Unix, yada yada yada. But if you understand the basics of it, you can pretty much use any kind of computer system. All right. What else? What other? So you can do stuff like rm will remove whatever file name you want to remove. CLS, all right, or clear. Clear doesn't work. Now CLS works for MS-DOS. If you go to Linux, it's going to be clear for the same command. You can also compare files. You can copy files, you can defrag files, delete files. So try all these commands. Don't use system files. The first thing I did when I got my computer. So I got the computer, and then I bought a MS-DOS tutorial and like RM. So I had, back in the day, we had basically, my computer came with nothing but let's see here. So right now I have a lot of directories. When you first get a PC computer back in 1989, you had one computer, and when you did dir, you had command.com, some kind of sys file, and there's like literally 3 files. So I'm all like, okay, dir, and I was like, oh, there's like 3 files. Maybe I'll delete one of them. I was like, all right, Dell deletes files. So I was like, Dell command.com. No. All right. And that deleted my computer. The command.com is basically what you need to boot your computer. And then after I try to, it'll still work, but because your command.com exists in memory. But as soon as I rebooted my computer, Oh my god, I was a 9 years old following this stupid guide, and it didn't tell me not to delete command.com. So I was all crying and stuff, you know, like I got the computer within the first hour of getting my computer, I made my computer unbootable. So I was all crying, and then my mom and my dad's like, all right, let's call the guy who made the computer, because we bought at a computer show from this random guy from Taiwan. He makes IBM compatible. So we call him up, explain the problem. But I was 9 years old. I thought I screwed something huge up. So he tells me, yeah, drive to my company in Silicon Valley. So I drive there, bring this giant PC. I think I still have it. And then bring it there. So he reinstalls command.com and it works. And he even installed like a dozen freeware games. So back then we already had open source that it was called freeware back then, a free game. So he installed all these games. So I was so happy because when I first got the computer, it came with absolutely nothing. PCs come with like absolutely nothing. You basically get command.com, some kind of .bat. What are those things called? Anyway, I just want to tell you about how I started with computers. And back then, we had nothing to work with. Not all this Windows stuff. It was basically MS-DOS. But yeah, it's just fun to relive that memory and teach you guys this. But if you're born after like 2000, I mean, you're not going to appreciate how much computer technology has evolved, because we didn't have graphics. I literally saw technology getting better. It was what? It was like 8-bit, then 16-bit. Like I was like 16-bit, that looks so cool, but it was all pixelated. 32-bit, I was like, whoa! By the time it was like 64-bit, it was like, you know, it's just mind-boggling how much resolution we have, how much more power. I mean, my computer was a 386 25 megahertz. These phones are already like 2 gigahertz, 3 gigahertz, 3.5 gigahertz. This phone alone here is like more than 10,000 times, or maybe like 100,000 times, a million times faster than my original first computer. So really appreciate technology. Learn MS-DOS, or if you're using Linux, learn terminal, because this is like the basics of computer programming, computer technical knowledge. If you don't know this, then you're not a programmer. Anyway, I just want to teach you guys that. Have a great day, and as always,
stay home.